All right, y'all. Let's go.
It's less than 3 weeks until the controversial fight, and Jake Paul has finally revealed the secret weapon he believes will change everything. But this time, it's not some flashy new gadget or a wild, over-the-top trainer. It's a world champion. The tension around Tank versus Jake Paul is growing every single day, and the energy isn't slowing down for a second. From knockout bonuses to the surprising alliances forming behind closed doors. This build-up already feels like a full-blown Netflix series in the making. And now Jake Paul has turned up the heat again, bringing in a world champion to spar with him as he sharpens himself for the November 14th showdown in Miami.
Blame a man for taking that opportunity because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
It's two sides of that. Like,
okay.
It just depends. Like, as a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But
this detail came straight from Jake's own mouth during an interview with TMZ Sports. You could see it in his eyes. He's starting to feel the weight of what's coming. He called it the most dangerous fight of his career, admitting that for the first time in a long while, the nerves are getting to him. Internally, I'm the most scared going into a fight that I've ever been, Jake confessed. Being vulnerable for a second, this is crazy. This is scary. It's the kind of thing that keeps me up at night.
Just his speed, his elusiveness, his ring IQ, his conditioning. You know, he's gone 12 rounds so many different times. Something that I've never even done. So he's going to be sharp all the way through. I mean, the list goes on. And so just actually being vulnerable for a second, it's like, this is crazy. This is scary.
However, he quickly balanced that moment of vulnerability with some major news. He's been filling his camp with elite talent. Alongside his usual crew, like Raymond Ford and Montana Love, Jake revealed that Shakur Stevenson, one of the most defensively gifted boxers in the world, is joining his camp to help him sharpen every move before stepping in against Tank Davis.
Man, I'm thinking about, Bigfoot versus Littlefoot. Andre the Giant versus Wee Man. Man, this is going to be better than damn Circus Olay. Yeah, they're going to look weird as hell in the ring together, man. You see how big Jake Paul is? 200 plus pounds? Man, I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Now that's the part that caught everyone completely off guard. Because if you've been following boxing even a little over the past few years, you already know Shakur Stevenson and Gervonta Davis have never exactly been on friendly terms.
When it comes to Davis, you know, he says in the press conference, what do you say? Just be a fan and watch the fight and enjoy the fight. Enjoy what, bro? You against Uber drivers? I don't want to watch that. You know what I mean? And then you get a guy who gives you a good fight. Don't you give him a rematch? You know what I mean? And then you want to be compared to Floyd. Floyd gave instantaneous rematches. You know?
The two have gone back and forth on social media, teased a fight that never happened, and constantly been compared for their skills at lightweight. So seeing Stevenson cross that invisible line and join Jake Paul's camp, that's massive. Shakur himself seemed fired up about it, posting on X, "Fire. Get a chance to pick a great business mind and help give some game in the process. I'm down." It's a short post, but it says a lot. He's not just stepping in to spar, he's stepping in to learn, to study, and maybe even to send a quiet message to Gervonta Davis while he's at it.
Way you could, any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
What makes this collaboration even more fascinating is how perfectly it fits strategically. Stevenson's entire game is built on timing, control, and angles. The exact tools Jake will need to master if he wants to survive Tank Davis's relentless pressure. Because Tank isn't just fast or explosive, he's methodical. He dissects his opponents round by round, until they crack. And Stevenson has watched that style unfold up close for years. By bringing him in, Jake's not just adding a sparring partner. He's bringing in a living, breathing playbook on how to read and counter Davis's rhythm and movement.
In terms of sparring, you know, we got some great guys coming in. Some really experienced southpaws that are smaller. I think Montana Love is coming in. Shakur Stevenson wants to come in. Jermaine Ortiz. We're gonna hit up Erickson, Lubin, some of these guys. So we're just gonna bring in a plethora of fighters that.
Meanwhile, back in Miami, the stage is ready. The fight's going down at the Kaseya Center, and Jake's made it clear. He's not stepping in there just to survive. He's trimming down, fine-tuning his conditioning to match Davis's pace, and focusing on countering power with precision. My goal is to walk Tank into a knockout, just like I've done with others, Jake said. It's bold, but that's been his mindset from the start. Control the chaos and own the moment. At this point, the build-up feels straight out of a movie. There's a knockout bonus on the line, mind games running both ways, and now a known rival of Davis standing in Jake's corner. It's the kind of setup that blurs the line between promotion and storyline.
22-pound weight difference, almost 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage. That is called one thing. That's called being a bully. It's like, dude, what are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone...
What's interesting, though, is that even with all this collaboration, Shakur Stevenson isn't actually betting on Jake Paul to win. He's been upfront about that. In his chat with TMZ, Stevenson made it clear that while he respects Jake's preparation, he still believes Gervonta Davis will walk away the better man. Size will play some part in the fight, Shakur said. If I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'd probably just go in there and outbox him. Use my knowledge and IQ against him. I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it look easy.
Geo's world, facts. That's why Tank wants to fight Jake Paul. I'm telling you, he want to fight Jake Paul because he know if he climb in the ring with Shakur Stevenson, he's going to get zapated.
That's classic Shakur. Calm, logical, and always analytical. He never gets lost in the noise. He understands that Tank's ring IQ doesn't get nearly enough credit. Most people only see the knockout power, but Shakur sees the strategist behind those punches. The way Davis studies his opponents, breaks them down, and sets traps round by round. To him, Jake's size might be an edge, but it's not the factor that decides the fight.
I think Gervonta Davis is probably the greatest fighter around now, but he's got a tough fight coming up. You know, he's the top dog, there's no doubt about it. He showed that.
However, not everyone's looking at it the same way. Terence Crawford, arguably one of the most complete fighters of this generation, has a completely different take. Speaking on the Full Send podcast, Crawford said he's actually leaning toward Jake Paul to pull off the upset. And his reasoning? Pure physics. Jake's just too big for Tank, Crawford said.
Of the latter. But instead of giving us the rematch with Roach, he's going to fight Jake Paul. Now, this is where you have a chance to stand up as fans. Don't pay for it. Don't watch it. But we know that you're going to.
In reality, he's just way too big for Tank, Crawford explained. Tank's incredibly talented. He hits hard. He's explosive. But Jake's power is real. That right hand, I've seen it up close. The dude's huge. He's not as slow as people think. And when he lands, it matters. Honestly, I'd lean toward Jake just based on youth and size. There's no official winner. It's an exhibition. But if they really start throwing, Jake's size changes everything. Tank won't be able to slip past that jab. If Jake lands one clean shot on Tank, it's over.
Talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight, and now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks and see if like the main pages have posted this, but Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta.
Crawford's perspective hits differently because he's one of the few elite fighters who's actually spent time around Jake's training firsthand. He's felt the power, seen the growth, and watched how much sharper Jake's gotten with every fight. And his point about the jab? That's no small detail. Jake's entire style is built around that long reach, using it to set up his right hand against opponents with shorter frames like Tank. And if that timing clicks, it could turn into a serious problem.
He's big. Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts. We saw him, I mean, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and, you know, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds.
Everything around Gervonta Davis's camp right now feels like controlled chaos. You can sense it in the way his team talks, in the carefully leaked clips, and in how the media's being fed just enough to shape the story. The message is clear. He's not just keeping up with bigger men, he's dominating them. Every image, every soundbite screams power and precision. His camp wants the world to know this version of Tank isn't just dangerous. He's the hardest-hitting version we've ever seen.
And you know what, PBC has to be called out in this too. They have one of the biggest stars in boxing, and they're putting them in this farcical fight. And they are struggling for survival, PBC. They are just falling apart. You know, the Pacquiao fight did terrible, terribly promoted.
They're saying he's dropping guys in sparring, that even heavyweights are getting rocked by his punches, that no matter how wild the weight gap looks on paper, the damage still leans Tank's way. That's the energy coming out of his camp. Not cautious, not calculated, just pure, unfiltered danger.
Fight is scheduled and everybody's going to watch it. So with all the eyes on it, there's only one result that is going to be of satisfactory. Only one result. And if Tank knocks out Jake. That's the only result.
But behind all that noise, there's a quiet sense that Davis understands exactly what he's stepping into. He's smaller, naturally lighter, and now he's pushing his body to bulk up, without losing that explosive snap that makes him deadly at 135. So his training isn't just about endurance anymore. It's about learning how to carry that same knockout power inside a heavier frame.
What do you think of Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis? I know on Instagram you called it a circus.
Yeah, boxing is slowly turning into the WWE. That's what I think.
Does Tank Davis have a chance?
Yes, but
yeah?
I don't even want to talk about it. Don't ask me questions like that again.
He's not grinding through marathon sparring sessions anymore. It's all short, violent bursts, focused not on lasting 12 rounds, but on finding that one perfect opening that can flip the fight in a heartbeat. He's working to keep the version of Tank fans know best, the one who ends things early. And the confidence pouring out of his camp borders on straight-up defiance. His trainer, Calvin Ford, hasn't held back, especially when it comes to the talk about the gloves.
The concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying?
He wanted Tank to wear smaller gloves, the 8-ounce ones that pack extra sting, while Jake Paul sticks with the 10s or 12s. Ford knows those tiny details matter. To him, that's the one equalizer Tank still has control over. Everything else, he's not pretending to be calm about it. They're not denying that Jake's the naturally bigger man. They just don't care. They signed the contract, shut out the noise, and locked in on one mission. Make every single punch count twice as much.
It off and throw it back on Coach Calvin, Gervonta, and their team and say that was their idea. But that makes no sense, bro, because Gervonta fights in 8-ounce gloves. 8-ounce gloves. Now Jake fights in 10-ounce gloves. 10-ounce gloves.
But Jake Paul's side is watching every clip coming out of Tank's camp, and they're laughing. They're calling it staged, saying the footage is edited to show dominance but hide the struggle. To them, all this danger in camp talk is just marketing. Jake even mocked it publicly, saying his team had heard Tank was looking dangerous, and he couldn't help but laugh. But that kind of trash talk isn't random. It's designed to puncture Davis's intimidation game. Jake's not just training for a fight, he's shaping the narrative. He understands how headlines shift, how confidence sells, so he plays the opposite role. Calm, cool, almost dismissive in public. Then, once the cameras are off, he surrounds himself with top-tier pros to prepare for every single angle Tank might unleash.
Why y'all couldn't take 10 and he had 8? Already he giving up 4 ounces of the gloves. I gotta say this because y'all betting all this money. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, wait. You guys were the ones that wanted 12-ounce gloves, not me. I'll do 8. I'll do 4. I'll do 2 ounces.
Davis, on the other hand, has gone completely silent, aside from the rare post where he drops a quick, emotionless reaction. He's not trying to sell a storyline. He's trying to remind everyone exactly who he is. He doesn't talk his way into fights. He hits hard enough to silence people. And that's the energy pulsing through his entire camp right now. Cold, focused, and ready to speak through violence.
Good in this. I don't know how it is. It looks to me David and Goliath, but David got skill and Goliath doesn't. But I don't know how it's going to work out. But if for some reason it winds up being a really fun event and it has tons and tons of millions and millions and millions of viewers, when Gervonta Davis goes back to...
The sessions being described out of his gym sound brutal. Big guys brought in just to test his balance, to lean on him, to drag him into clinches. And Tank's answering by going harder, loading up and breaking their rhythm punch by punch. That's been the tone of his whole camp. Get used to the size. Punish anyone who tries to use it. The leaked clips, the gym whispers, even the energy in the interviews. It's all telling the same story. Tank's been walking through bigger men, and that's exactly how they want him to picture Jake.
No, in some things, I think Gervonta's just gonna stick and move. He'll be fast, play it smart, I don't see him staying still for too long so Jake can land some shots. He'll just try to touch him. Who knows, man? It's an exhibition. It's a money grab.
But when you strip away all the talk, it's still a massive risk. This isn't just a step up in weight. It's a leap. Tank's never fought anywhere near 190 pounds, even with the added muscle. That's an entirely different world. Power doesn't always translate. Stamina shifts, balance changes, and getting hit by someone that size is a whole new experience. Everyone in the boxing world knows it, and that's exactly what makes this fight so controversial. It feels less like a matchup and more like a dare. But that's the point. Davis took it because he knows the critics said it made no sense, and now he wants to prove that size means nothing. When your timing is sharper, your reactions quicker, and your instincts faster than anyone else in the room.
Tank looked very uncomfortable facing off. He just did. I've seen other face-off this Tank done. He gets in their face and they're intense and he looks good. He looked very meager up there. You've had 8 fights and you're gonna go tangle with Tank Davis. And the story instantly comes out. Jake is so much bigger. There is such a compliment to Jake within that insult. It is meant.
And still, there's something deeper at play here. Something personal. Davis isn't just fighting Jake Paul. He's fighting everything Jake stands for. Paul has built his entire career on proving real fighters wrong. Every time someone predicted he'd get exposed, he flipped the script and didn't.
And I'm thinking about, big foot versus little foot. Andre the Giant versus Wee Man. Man, this is gonna be better than damn Circus Olay. Yeah, they gonna look weird as hell in the ring together, man. You see how big Jake Paul is? 200 plus pounds? Man, I don't understand it. I don't get it.
So for Davis, this fight isn't about belts or rankings. It's about erasing that entire narrative. You can feel it in the way he's training. He's treating this like a test of legacy, not a paycheck. There's no joking, no showmanship, no talk of exhibitions. Inside that gym, it's pure intensity. They're preparing like it's life or death.
Up to let it be known, hey, I'm after the paper right now. And I got to say this, Tank, most definitely, bro, him, not them that did his stuff in his career, but the move that he made recently, and I'm going to say not taking that rematch against Roach first, that was most definitely going to be a blockbuster event. Everybody wanted.
Meanwhile, Paul is turning that same intensity right back on Davis. He's been honest about his fear. He said it himself, but that fear is what's driving him. He's sparring with faster, sharper fighters who mimic Tank's rhythm, trying to match that split-second burst of speed. He's cutting down muscle, focusing on agility, training his body to step back just far enough when Tank explodes to make him miss, then make him pay. That's his whole mindset. Stay out of danger, stay composed, and punish the smaller man for every inch he dares to take.
Paul brings something to media and to boxing. You cannot miss a fight. I like it, V. I like the drama it's bringing, I'll be honest.
But honestly, nobody really cares about this fight.
Yeah, are you gonna watch it?
Yeah, of course. That's how it's gonna go. Nobody really cares, but everybody's gonna watch it. Like,
he said, nobody cares about this.
Teofimo Lopez didn't hold back when it came to the upcoming Gervonta Davis versus Jake Paul fight, and his take was as sharp as it was dismissive. To him, this isn't about legacy at all. It's business, plain and simple. When asked if a loss would hurt Davis's reputation, Lopez just smirked and said, "Not at all. It'll only affect his bank account." In Lopez's eyes, the idea that Tank's legacy could be damaged by an exhibition-style matchup is absurd. He sees it more like a side quest, a final cash grab before the lights go out.
Has gone too far. Jake Paul is taking on Gervonta Tank Davis in an exhibition bout this November. The fight will be taking place in Atlanta between the cruiserweight and the 135-pounder, nearly 100-pound difference between the two guys. This is absolutely insane. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below.
Davis has already hinted at retiring before the end of 2025. And with that deadline getting closer, this Jake Paul fight feels like a test of what's left in the tank. Literally. It's less about belts or rankings now, and more about making a statement, putting on a show, and, sure, cashing in while he can. But not everyone's convinced it's a smart move. UFC President Dana White laid it out bluntly. He's too small. White admitted Tank hits harder than Mayweather ever did, but said size is the deal breaker. Jake's massive, he said. He's got to tie him up, lean on him, make it ugly. And coming from someone who's seen every kind of fight up close. That's not just talk, that's realism.
Just a lot of punching down, practicing, hitting below my knees, and a lot of speed.
He warming up.
We're
now.
sparring.
That's what we need.
We're sparring.
Warm up.
Some
I know
8-year-olds. I got the 8-year-olds in there.
If I find out anything, I'm gonna beat your ass and I'm gonna beat Jaden.
And then there's Matt Brown, who took a more measured stance. If Tank takes it seriously, he's going to beat Jake, he said. But Brown also questioned where Tank's focus really is, whether he's still the same sharp, locked-in fighter he used to be. Still, he gave him the edge in skill. Tank should be able to run circles around him, touch him up, hurt him. He just can't afford to get caught. And that's where things stand now. Respect, doubt, and curiosity all swirling around one question. Which version of Tank shows up? Share your take below and subscribe for more.